Welcome back. This is episode 3 of the Eagle Experience. On today's episode, I'm here with Heather Chandler, a former employee here at Chestatee Academy. Let's get straight into it. Miss Chandler, go ahead and take it away. Tell us when you were here, what you did, and how was Chestatee for you?
All right. So I've been retired 2 years now. I came in 99 when the school first opened. So I was one of the veteran teachers. I was here, I taught 8th grade for 4 years, and then they moved me down to 6th grade, and I was in 6th grade for 11 years. And I liked 6th grade a lot, but I was very nervous about 6th graders. And then they moved me to 7th grade, and by that time I was really comfortable in 6th grade, and I was very nervous about the 7th grade. And so I was there for 11 years, and I retired. People always ask me what your favorite grade was, and I think I have to say whatever grade I was teaching at the time. Because when I left 7th grade, I never wanted to teach 8th grade again. I didn't want to teach 6th grade again. But now looking back, I don't know which one I would rather teach again if I had to teach again.
Now, what inspired you to become a teacher? I mean, was it when you were really young?
No. When I was in college, I was a psychology major. I just wanted to help people. Okay. And the youth minister at Gainesville First United Methodist Church, David Smith, he asked me if I would help him during the summer months with the trips and with the youth program. And, just there's a lot more hanging out with kids during that time. So he said, do you want to help? And I was like, that would be fun to get paid to help or to hang out with kids. So I did. And I immediately fell in love with middle school age kids. They were funny. They were strange. They were right up my alley. We had a ball. So that fall, before I went back to school, I was at North Georgia. I told my parents I was going to change my major from psychology to middle grade education. And my parents were like, no, don't. You are not the best student. You were never on honor roll. You just had a really good time at school. And I was like, but that'll be great because that's what teachers can do. They can relate to them better that way.
Right.
So I changed my major against my parents' wishes and fell in love with it and started at North Hall Middle, worked there for 4 years, and then came here and I retired, and it was the best job I've ever had.
Now, you mentioned you were at Chestatee from the very beginning. Do you have any stories you'd like to share? I mean, if you've been around here for the Eagle Experience for a little while, then you'll know we had Miss Suzanne Gerard on here, and she was the principal at Chestatee Academy very early on. So tell us a little bit about early Chestatee.
Okay, so early Chestatee was very small. There weren't a lot of teachers. There weren't a lot of students. And I can remember I was on the 8th grade hall. My room backed up to the boys' bathroom on the 8th grade hall. I don't know whose room that is. Mr. Alexander, I think? Maybe. I don't know.
Backs up to the 8th grade. Not sure.
Okay. So anyway, so there's that little hallway. And then the last door before you go out the double doors was empty. That was the ping pong room.
The ping pong room.
PE teachers put 2 ping pong tables in there. And so every now and then we would just go in there before school, after school, sometimes during lunch. I mean, not during lunch, during planning. And we would play ping pong with the students, without the students. We would just play some ping pong. But one of my favorite memories, again, early on, not many students in the building, so it was a lot more laid back, if you will. Mm-hmm. There was a mannequin in the, I think I'll call it Family and Consumer Science now. Is that
down the main hall?
Yes.
It's probably Miss Crumley's room.
Yes. What does she teach?
Food.
Okay.
Culinary arts.
Culinary arts. Okay. Back in the day, it was called home ec. And in home ec, you did all these different things.
Like babies and stuff, right?
Well, we didn't have babies. But you just did a lot of different things.
Okay.
And I think her name was Miss Knowlton was the teacher. And she had this mannequin in her room because kids could make clothes. They learned how to sew. They learned how to do these things. They learned, did different hairdos. Anyway, they had this mannequin. And for some reason, somebody thought it would be a great idea to take the mannequin and to hide it somewhere. And so a teacher walked into their room early in the morning, flipped on the lights, and there's this thing standing there. It scared the bejeez out of them. They thought it was like a person, so they screamed. So we all thought that was absolutely hilarious. So the mannequin started floating around the school at different times. The mannequin, you never know where the mannequin was going to end up. Well, Coach Chester was a PE teacher, And he was the most respectful person ever to walk earth. And we put the mannequin in the 8th grade teacher's workroom bathroom. And we made it look like the mannequin was sitting on the toilet. And so we went in one morning, and all the teachers were in the workroom, and somebody went and got Coach Chester and said, someone has vandalized the 8th grade teacher workroom bathroom. And he was so upset that somebody would vandalize anything. So he comes flying in there, and he was like, what's going on? What's going on? And we were all acting like we were cleaning up something. We're like, somebody's destroyed the bathroom. It's awful. So he opens the door, turns on the light. Well, this mannequin is sitting on the toilet. This woman mannequin. He freaks out. He starts screaming, I'm sorry. I can't see. I'm not looking. And comes out, and we're all dying laughing. And he was like, oh, there's somebody in there on the toilet. We're like, no, it's the mannequin. So that was fun. And, things like that, I don't know why things like that quit happening. I know there was also we had a fake rat that looked really like a rat, and we would hide it from each other. In my last couple of years before I retired, we started hiding that rat again. We found it, and we started hiding it. And I'm not sure who ended up with it. I'm going to throw out Barry Story or Shelby Ledford, because
I remember it being in Miss Ledford's room.
Yes, I think she still has it. She claims she doesn't, but she mailed it to me one day over Christmas. I thought I was getting a Christmas present in the mail, and I opened it up, and it's this crazy-looking rat, and I freaked out in my kitchen. Mr. Story used to hide it from me, different places. I think one of them have the rat. So I'm telling every teacher, there is a rat around here that's going to come and get you. So
now, you've already shared with us some of your very memorable experiences, but if you really had to rank them, share some of your most memorable experiences at Chestatee with us.
Most memorable experiences. Maybe Pink Week.
Pink Week.
Pink Week. That was, maybe I was teaching probably 8th grade and 6th grade. And when I taught 6th grade, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And so Relay for Life became very important to me and to all the teachers, because they were so supportive of my cancer experience. Mm-hmm. And so they asked me at Relay for Life to be a team captain for Chestatee. So I said, sure. What do I have to do? And they said, raise money. I said, I got this. I can do this. So I started telling the teachers, we need to raise some money for Relay for Life. And they're like, okay, how much? I was like, thousands of dollars. And they were like, really? I said, yes. They said, how are we going to do this? I said, well, I don't know. We got to come together and think about it. So I asked Ms. Gerard, I said, can I have a Pink Week? And, it rhymes. It's cute. We can talk about it. She was like, you go for it. So Monday through Friday, we had a different fundraiser every day. And we raised thousands of dollars every year. My favorite activity that we did for Pink Week was we had paper cupcakes that the Relay for Life office gave us. Mm-hmm. And we sold them to the students for $1 each. They wrote their name on it. They colored it, whatever. Whichever homeroom had the most, Miss Brookshire would make them a cupcake party, because it was cupcakes and everything. And that was a lot of fun, and it got very, very competitive on who could raise the most money. And it would be, like I said, our school, we were the top school for many, many years because we raised so much money. And I think one reason I really like Pink Week is because students understood why we were raising money for Relay for Life.
Right.
It wasn't just, I'm going to, buy a cupcake, but it was, I'm helping cancer research. Mm-hmm. So that was good. Another thing that I really liked at the beginning was the sporting events. All the teachers would go to all the different events. So at a football game, you'd have 20 or 30 teachers all sitting together watching the middle school football game, and they would all say, hey, where are we going to go out to eat? And we'd all go out to eat. And then basketball season, we'd all come to the basketball games. Soccer season, we'd all go to the soccer games. And that was just a lot of fun to support the students and to be around each other in a social gathering. Those were some of the most fun experiences.
Right. Now, I've heard of some very interesting pep rally stories. And if I can be quite straight, our pep rallies, I just really think they're not the same. So share with us, give us some ideas, man.
Wow, pep rallies, they were so loud. I can just remember going home and thinking, my head is never going to stop hurting. And they were always fun. Whatever season it was, we would act out that. I remember one time our football team was going to the championship game. And so we had a football game in the pep rally. And we would dress up like the football players, and we'd have shirts or something from the other team, and we would battle back and forth. That was always fun. Or we had, I can remember there was a volleyball game one time where we were playing some students in volleyball. It was just always somehow teachers versus students. And of course, the teachers almost always won. Almost. The older we got, the more we didn't really win. But it was just fun to have so many people involved doing fun things. And the teachers, we wanted the kids to laugh at us, and we wanted just to be goofy and make it fun. So yeah, pep rallies back in the day were a lot of fun. I can remember there was a banana cheer. I know how to spell banana, but I don't remember. There was something about shaking bananas, but I think I remember something about a banana cheer. I don't know. Sorry, go ahead.
Can you think of any specific students who really had an impact on you? How did they influence your life?
Oh, wow. I think every year there would be 3 or 4 students that changed me as a person. Like I said, when I was in 6th grade, I had cancer. And there was a student, Chase Murphy, who was going through cancer also. And so I didn't teach him, but he and I really connected that year, obviously. Mm-hmm. And I can remember right before my first chemo, I sought him out and I just said, hey, can I just talk to you about what's going to happen during chemo? I had an idea, but I wanted to hear it from a 12-year-old's point of view. And he said, yeah. So we sat down and we just had a lot of talk. And I remember one day I was at school and he came to me and he said, I really didn't want to come to school today, but I knew that you were going through cancer and you would probably be here. And I know I could get out of my bed and come. And I said, Chase, I've thought that so many times about you. Like, I'm not going to go today. I don't feel well. But then I knew Chase would be there. And if a 12-year-old can go, I can go. And so he really got me through a lot of dark, tiring days going through cancer at school because he was going through the same thing.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Can you think of any
Can
specific...
I tell you one more student?
Oh, feel free.
Her name was Donna Martin, and she was in 8th grade. And she was a firecracker. I mean, that girl, you couldn't tell her anything because if she didn't want to do it, she wasn't going to do it. But she wormed her way into all of our hearts. And she had a lot against her in life, but she was just going to make it. And she did make it. And when she was a senior, Bill Thompson was the principal at the high school, and he called me, and he's like, Donna Martin and I are coming to see you tomorrow. And I was like, oh, that's fabulous. I'm so excited. And he's like, because she has a letter from you saying, if you graduate from Chestatee High School, I'll give you $100. And I was like, what? And he said, I see the letter, and it has your name on it. And I was like, I do remember telling her that. And I said, but she kept that letter? And he was like, she's coming to get her money. I was like, oh my gosh. So the next day, I walk in the front office when they call me down, and there's Donna, and there's Mr. Thompson, and she has that letter, and she said, I hope you brought me cash and not a check. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I said, Donna, why in the world did you keep this? And she's like, because you told me you would give me $100 if I graduated. I was like, wow, okay. So I gave her $100. I never told anybody else that because I didn't want to have to keep giving out $100. But I see her every now and then, and I just have moments. I get so excited when I see her.
Can you think of any specific colleagues, people you worked with who had a real significant impact on you, and how did they affect your life?
Oh my gosh. Everybody I come in contact with has molded me in some way. Early on, there were teachers at North Hall that really made me the teacher I am. Or the teacher I was. I think here, 2 teachers, I don't want to name names because the other ones are going to say, why didn't you say me? But Heather Blaker is, and I will start crying, she's just one of the most amazing human beings, not just teacher, but human beings. Her heart is so huge. And she and I got to teach together in 6th grade. She taught the ESOL segment, and I taught the regular. So we were together most of the day, every day. And the things that I was already a veteran teacher. She was just kind of starting out. She'd taught some, but the compassion she has for students of all races, it's hard to put into words how amazing she is. And so I always wanted to be like her. I was like, oh, I was named after you, but I'm like 10 years older than she is. So she really, really had a big impact on me. And then another teacher, Barry Story, I can remember he came after the school year had started and a teacher had left and they had hired Barry. And I remember saying the first time he got his paycheck, I said, are you excited? Today's payday. And he was like, I cannot believe I'm getting paid to have so much fun. And he said, I've wanted this job forever and I finally got it. And the excitement on his face, because I had already been teaching, many, many years. And I was kind of like, yeah, I get it. It's fun, whatever. And it is. But he, not just at the beginning of the school year when new teachers, there's so much going on, they're so stressed and everything, but he came in the middle of the year. So he just immediately got into it. And he was so excited. And he's, as far as I know, has kept that passion for teaching. And I just always wanted to be as passionate about teaching as Barry was.
Now, you've almost really shown us the answer to this question, but how was it like building relationships here at Chestatee with colleagues and students? Was it easy, and how did those relationships change you?
I've always been a people person. I can remember in school, teachers would always have to tell my parents, Heather, she's a good student, but she talks too much, or all she wants to do is make people laugh. She just needs to be a little more studious. So being around people has always been my passion. So it's always, if there's a new teacher, I immediately sought them out to try to make them comfortable, because coming into a staff with so many new faces, it was always hard. And so I would always just say, I'm going to seek that person out and really try to make them feel comfortable. And I think that's a lot of what a lot of teachers do. I learned so much from every teacher that I taught with, or even teachers I didn't teach with. Just the importance of knowing the students for the student, not for what they wear, not for who their parents are, or, if they ride the bus or if they ride in a car. Just get to know them as an actual person and love them for that. And so, I saw a lot of students from a different perspective than I would have if I wasn't a teacher. It would always make me upset in the community when I would hear somebody say, oh, that student's stupid because if they did something wrong. No, they're not stupid. Their choice that they made was stupid, but they're not a stupid person. So I always get real defensive when I hear the community talk about a stupid student. No, don't say that. Their frontal lobe has not developed all the way, so they don't make the greatest choices, but they're not stupid people.
All right, thank you for that. Now, you've already mentioned really that you're not here anymore, but you are retired. So what are you doing now? Does it have anything to do with Chestatee?
Yeah, I'm here at 4:30 in the afternoon, so I still love Chestatee. Miss Briscoe laughs because I say, I slept all the way till 7:30 today. And she says, when I retire, I'm not waking up at 7:30 in the morning. But I love to wake up, watch the news, have my morning coffee, look at Facebook, see if anything's developed over the night. That's very important. But no, I do. I volunteer, or I don't volunteer, scratch that. I substitute at my church preschool at Gainesville First Methodist Church. Whenever there's a teacher out, they ask me if I, want to come in and sub, and that's a great job. Hanging out with 2-year-olds is a lot of fun. And I have a lot of friends, all different ages, and some of my older friends don't drive anymore, and so I drive them to doctor's appointments or hair appointments or the grocery store. I spent the day today with a lady. We did a lot of different things and ended up at Ingalls, and it's just fun. My goal when I retired, I told myself, I'm going to do something every day to make somebody's life easier. Not necessarily better, but maybe easier. And so sometimes Tim Boyd needs me to be his door dasher. And so for the basketball team, for the high school girls basketball team, anytime there's an away game, I go pick up their dinner and bring it to them and leave it for them. Miss Rodriguez asks me to bring her Starbucks sometimes. So I do those things, but I also help people in the community whenever they need something done, because I have time to make people's life easier And that's one thing I really want to do.
That's good. That's really the War Eagle spirit.
Hey, it continues. How about that?
Now, you've really already answered this, but I'll
Sorry.
still ask it. I mean, we're just answering questions all around. We hear that Chestatee is a family all the time, especially here on the Eagle Experience. And do you feel that way now? And did you feel that when you were here?
Early on, for sure. Like I said, we were a very small school, so everybody knew everything about each other. I feel like the years, maybe like the 5 or 6 years before I retired, it was still a family, but maybe an extended family. You know, aunts and uncles and cousins that you don't see all the time. Maybe at a family reunion, you still enjoy being with them, but you just don't see them all the time. But back in early days, it was more like the mother, father, brother, sister experience, and you knew everything. You knew, if somebody, was sick and they were out of school for 2 or 3 days. I mean, there was a meal train going. You knew people were
Right.
what was wrong with them. If someone's had a death in the family, I mean, before the obituary was printed, everybody knew. And I think now that it's bigger and there are lots more teachers, their content might know or their grade level might know, but the rest of the school might not know. It's kind of like the extended family I was saying. So, yes, it's definitely still a family, but maybe not as close-knit as it was in the beginning.
Right. What are some of the things that you learned or that you taught to others as a teacher that really helped you in life and things that you learned?
For my students, I learned that not everybody has it as easy as everybody else. And everybody learns differently. Everybody, has different challenges when they get home. And so I really just had to look at each student as an individual and not as a whole class. Sometimes I did that much better than other times. Sometimes, I would forget and then something would happen and it would just like hit me in the face like, I get it. I get why this happened. And I learned to love the unlovable. I think that, I'm not going to say I had favorite students, but some of my quote unquote favorite students were the ones that were so hard to love, because when they finally got that I loved them, it was like a breakthrough, and it was so much easier to teach them then. And they would trust me and they would say things in confidence. And it was just, loving the unlovable was probably my passion.
Is there any advice you would give to our current students here at Chestatee Academy?
To the students, yes, don't use your cell phone. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm serious. Don't use your cell phone. Be kind to the teachers, because there is not one teacher here who is doing it because they get a paycheck at the end of the month, because the paycheck is not that big. And for the amount of work that they go into, they do it. It's just, every teacher's here because they love students. So students, please be kind to your teachers.
Is there any advice you'd give to our current teachers or staff?
Yes, enjoy what you do every single day, because as much as I love retirement, and it is the bomb, I don't even, if the bomb's not cool to say anymore. It is great. It's the, I'm trying to think of that word.
Rad.
No.
Oh.
It's that. Okay, wait, pause. What is that word? It's like,
What?
it's not like toilet, but it's like
Toilet skibbity?
skibbity.
Oh,
Is that a bad word?
Are you really going to say that, though?
Does that mean like doo-doo?
No, it has like no meaning, honestly.
Okay. I always thought it
If
was
you want to say it,
Wait,
say
say
it.
it again. Skibbity.
Skibbity.
Skibbity. Okay. I want to say it.
Is there any advice you'd give to our current teachers or staff here?
Yes. Enjoy what you do every single day. Because even though retirement is like skibbity, it is. See, I can even keep the lingo going as a retired person. Retirement's great, but I miss the students. I miss the day-to-day contact with 12 and 13-year-olds. I don't think I laugh as much because they were hilarious. Definitely, I have a lot more problems with my cell phone because there's nobody here to say, hey, this is not working. So I have to go to Spectrum a lot more often, which is not fun. But anyway, really enjoy what you're doing, because it's going to go away. You're going to miss the contact with students and teachers. And so just enjoy it. But then enjoy retirement.
Good life lesson. Just
you remember that in
things
like
slow.
50 years.
I know. Now, we're going to try a little new segment here on the Eagle Experience, a series of rapid fire questions where I will almost interview you now, as we've really been just having a conversation. Okay. But now this will be quick, concise answers.
Oh,
so
concise.
That
makes me nervous.
This is Talent Talk. I've been waiting to do that. All right. What's the funniest thing a student ever did in class?
Probably scare me. They get behind the doors and then I would walk in I would not be thinking of students and they would pop out and go, boo. And every single time it would just unravel me. I would freak out.
You never was like carrying like coffee or anything, right?
No. Oh, but one day a student was behind my desk, like in my desk, like, you know, where the chair goes. And I'd seen him before homeroom and I was, I was like, where's so-and-so? And they're like, oh, he had to go to the nurse. I'm like, okay, would have been nice to tell me, but okay. And so then I walked around my desk and he was in there and he like grabbed my ankle and I like, oh my gosh, I might have said something I shouldn't have said. I'm not going to claim that 100%. I know I said it in my head, but
Skibbity?
What does skibbity mean?
What's the funniest thing you ever did in class?
I was very, very serious. I don't think I ever did anything funny. My students might have another opinion of that, but one day I went and I was going to not sit in my rolly chair, but I was going to I just wanted to kind of prop on it and put my knee on it, but then stand, kind of like a flamingo. And as I did that, the chair shot across the room because it was on wheels. And I went straight down and there was like silence. And I heard somebody say, did she die? And I was like, no, I did not die. I'm like, but I'm in a lot of pain right now, but I didn't die. So maybe that, I don't know. You'd have to ask a student that. But let me know which student you're going to ask because they might have different answers that I don't want shared.
If your classroom ever had a mascot, what would it have been?
Either a chocolate Christmas tree cake, a Little Debbie one, which they don't make anymore, or a Diet Coke.
That's really good.
Because, I got lots of Diet Cokes for gifts, for like Christmas presents and birthday presents because I loved Diet Coke. I do love Diet Coke.
Okay.
So I would have a Diet Coke every day.
What's the weirdest fashion trend you ever saw students while teaching?
Oh, boys' underwear. When they would wear the baggy jeans and their butts would hang out. And it was just, I never understood why they wanted to see that. But they did. And we were always pull up your pants, pull up your pants. I mean, things you don't think you ever say in public, you said it in a middle school. Or don't lick the table. Those are things you also never think you'd have to say, but you have to say it.
Was there ever a fellow teacher you were secretly intimidated by? And hey, I mean, you're not here anymore. You can spit out names.
Let me think. I don't think I was ever intimidated by anybody. Miss Mull, Jill Mull, was the math teacher. She's one of my dear friends, but if she started screaming, it scared me for sure. But I don't think I was intimidated by her. I might have intimidated some people, but I wasn't very intimidated.
What's the most creative excuse you've heard for not doing homework?
A student told me that his baby sister threw up on a piece of paper one time. And I was just like, really? But then most of my students, they just said, I didn't do it. They didn't even think about reasons why they didn't do it. They would just say, I didn't do it. So they weren't very creative when it came to excuses.
If you could give one piece of advice to your younger teacher self, what would it be? Don't work harder than the students for their grade. Because if a student didn't do well on an assignment or if they didn't do an assignment, oh my gosh, I would go so crazy begging that student to do it, giving them ample opportunity. Just don't. Just, hey, you didn't do it? Okay, let's do it the next time. But I think I would take a lot of stress off myself as a teacher if I just kind of let it go. Encourage them, but I can't do it for them. And I always wanted to do it for them. What was your dream job as a kid?
Oh, when I was in 4th grade, I think it was, I had Miss Banks, and we had to write a little essay on what we wanted to do when we grew up. And I wanted to be a hula dancer. I have zero musical ability to dance or anything. I cannot dance at all. But yeah, I wanted to be a hula dancer. So I wrote an essay on being a hula dancer. As much as a 3rd grade essay could be.
Now, you've also really already answered this one with your changing of majors while you're in college. But if you had not been a teacher, what career would you have chosen?
Something with helping teenagers, maybe social work, psychology. I would definitely want to stay with teenagers because they're just so fun.
Now, you are an English teacher, correct?
Correct.
Now, if you had to do it over, what subject would you have chosen?
English.
All right.
That's the only one that really matters. I mean, not really matters. I know.
Oh, no.
I know.
You done did it now. The rest of the teachers are coming.
They are coming after me, and I'm scared. No, it's just you can do so much with language arts. You get to read. You get to write. They can write their feelings. They can write, just you can just do so much with language arts.
What was your favorite field trip you ever took students on?
We had, so there's SOAR now. And the very first SOAR, it was very different. It's just things to have, like the students and the teachers just had a common interest, and so they did it. And mine was school spirit. And so there was a lunchroom lady named Verby, and she lived across the street. And she was going through breast cancer at the same time I was. And so I said, hey, let's go cheer her up. So I got in touch with her and I said, do you mind if I bring 15 or 20 kids over one Friday morning to see you? She said, I would love it, because she loved all the kids. So every Friday morning we would walk across Franmar Drive and sit in Verby's living room and talk to her and just love on her and love on her husband. And she passed away that year, unfortunately. And when I went to the funeral home, I saw two of my students who were in my store. They and their parents had gone to the funeral home. So I knew it had impacted them having a relationship with her as much as it did me. That was fun.
That's sweet. And that was a great way to wrap up today's episode. If you enjoyed today's show, be sure to share and subscribe. I'm Zach Roach, and this is Heather Chandler. So until next time, thanks for joining us for another Eagle Experience.
Stay skippity.
Oh, Lord.